host to share?
Yes, you've got to make a co-host. Okay. You want to make the co-host of this meeting? Yes.
Okay, I need to allow to share.
Okay. So
okay.
So we start just a minute.
All right.
We'll let the people come in to the webinar.
Okay, good evening to each and every one of us. And thank you for the opportunity to give you this wonderful presentation on Excel. My name is Abiola David. I'm an Excel consultant and also a Power BI consultant based in Lagos, Nigeria, and an Excel MVP. I actually want to apologize for not being here by exactly 6 p.m. local time in Nigeria. I apologize. Okay, so in today's presentation, we'll be looking at what is new in Excel. Okay, so we want to start right away. And I believe you're going to have questions. So if you have questions, please kindly write them down or note along so that we can cover the questions.
Yes, you can write in Hebrew and I will translate it.
Okay, and I hope I'm going to learn how to write in Hebrew also.
Okay.
It's such a wonderful language. So thank you so much for having me, Mr. Shlomi. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now let's dive in. Now there are so many new things that are coming up in Excel, quite so many. And I want to let you know sincerely that Excel feature is so bright. There are new things coming up, which of course I'm not going to be able to divulge because of the NDA signature. But let's see some of the new things that we have in Excel desktop for now. Now, I'm going to be showing you a combination of some worksheet functions and some features in Excel. So let's start with the new let and the lambda function. So in this case, I'm going to be using the let function and the lambda function combined with the sum ifs function. Now let's see our data set. We have this sys data showing other dates, sys amount. Now, how can we create a cross-tab report that's going to show us the sys amount for this particular date from February the 13th, 2013 rather, to February 2017. Now, we have this unique month and the year in these rows. And for each of these columns, we have the unique payment method. Now, in the main data set, we have this payment method in column C and the sys amount in column H. Now, this data is formatted as an Excel table. So we have the table design, contextual ribbon tab, and we have named it let lambda as the proper table name. Now, let's see how to use the new let function. Now, let's see what let function does. Just type in let. By definition, let function assigns calculation results to names useful for storing intermediate calculations and values by defining names inside let's just move this, inside a formula. This can, of course, apply to function within the scope. Now, let's see what it does. Now, we have these parameters or arguments to provide. We have the name one, name value one, and so on. Now, let's start. Now, the first thing I want to do is to give a value or a name to undo my month operation. So for this, I'm going to start by typing, start of month. It's going to be like a parameter. So it's going to be the name one, comma. For the name value one, I'm going to reference the value in cell J1, which is the unique date, February 2013. Now, because I'm going to copy the formula across, I need to ensure that I apply mixed cell reference by locking down the column J so that the column J will not move to column K, L, and so on. So by that, I'm going to press F4 key. 1, 2, 3. So I've locked down the column J, comma. So for name 2, I don't need the calculation yet. I need another name 2. So for the name 2, I'm going to put in the end of month, comma. And then for the value, I actually need the end of this current month of February 2013. Now, to achieve the end of month, there is a date function called the EO month that can actually give us the end of month. So I'm going to deploy the EO month in here. And for the start date, I'm going to reference the same value until J1. And also we make it to be absolute by looking at the column. So F4 key, 1, 2, 3. So the row 2 is relative, so comma. Now, because we want to stay at the end of the current month, we need to specify 0. So that's going to give us the end of the current month. That is the end of February 2013. So close the EO month, and then we are back to let, comma. Now, for the name 3, I'm going to provide what I call unique payment method, or PM. Now, this is the payment method column in column C. So let me just do that. Equals unique PM. PM simply means payment method, comma. And for the value that I want to assign to this unique PM, I'm going to just select the value in cell K1. Now, again, because I'm going to copy the formula downwards, I need to lock down the row 1 so that it will not move relatively. So I'm going to press F4 key on my keyboard, 1, 2. So we have locked down the row 1. Okay, let's move further. Now, comma. So the next thing we need is our calculation. So I'm just going to throw in calculation and comma. Now, I'm going to define my calculation itself by throwing the sum ifs functions. So let's type in sum ifs. Okay. Now the sum ifs requires the sum range, which usually contains numbers. So for the sum range, I'm going to reference this column H, which contains the sys amount. Okay. Now this is what's called structured referencing nomenclature. Okay. Comma. And for the criteria range 1, I'm going to point to the order date in column A. Then comma, and for the criteria 1, I want to check the date based on this criteria range 1, the one that is greater than or equal to the start of month. So I'm going to say inside double quotation because we are using 2 operators, so greater than or equal to them. We close the double quote and we concatenate that with the ampersand, and then we recall this start of month defined value. So I'm just going to type start of month, okay, comma. Now the criteria range 2 is going to be almost similar. So let's get the order date column, comma. And for the criteria 2, I want to check the date, the end of month, that is less than or equal to EO month, less than this end of month value. So for that, I'm going to put double quote and then less than or equal to operators, close the double quote, and then we concatenate that with the ampersand, and then we record the end of month value that we defined in this value 2, comma. Now, the last argument of this is the criteria range 3. Now, the criteria range 3, we undo the payment method, which is the column C. So we select that, comma, and then for the criteria 3, I'm going to recall this unique PM that I defined here. So just type in unique PM, and then we press my tab key, and I close the sum ifs, and then we are back to let, comma. Now, finally, we need to sum this calculation that we defined here that governs the sum ifs operation, or the calculation, or the formula. So for that, I'm going to use the simple sum function, and then for the value, I'm just going to recall this calculation. Just type in calculation, and then I close the sum, and I close the let. Now, if everything is looking good, we should have accurate report. So Control Enter. Cool. So we have 3,598,000 plus for the sys amount for the month of February 2013, and for FASAPay payment method. Now, when I copy this across to other columns, it's going to give zeros. Now, to achieve a reasonable result, we need to Control Z. I'm going to copy this first result here, Control C, and I select the entire range down to 2017 February, then Control V. Absolutely cool. So we have all the sys amount for each of the payment method based on the specific month. For example, you can actually see from here that we have the highest sys amount or revenue in this month of July 2013 for PayPal payment method. Now, this is essentially how we can use the new let function. Now, you can actually see what's going on in the formula bar by pressing Ctrl-Shift-U, which expands the formula bar. And then you can actually see what you've done. Now, we're going to replicate this with the new Lambda function. Now, the Lambda function is perhaps a new game changer in Excel because it allows you to create a custom and reusable function within your spreadsheet. So I'm going to copy this formula, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-U to collapse the formula bar. Now, okay, let me copy the first one here. Okay, Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C, Escape. Now let's see how to use the new let function. I'm sorry for my my light over here, it's not that bright. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the Lambda function. Now let's see what it does as a function. Okay, Lambda. Okay, now I need to explain that the Lambda function is currently available in the beta channel, and I think the current channel of Excel for M365. Okay, but I'm sure because I'm using M365, so I have it. So if you want to check which version of Excel you have, you can go to the File tab, and then you come to the Accounts, and then you'll be able to see the product information. Now, I'm currently subscribed to what's called the beta channel, which we often call in the past as Office Insider. Okay, so if you're on beta channel, you should have it. All right, now let's see how to use the Lambda function. Lambda function. Now, by definition, it creates a function value which can be recorded within formulas. So press Tab key. Now, for the Lambda function, we need to define parameter or calculation, and you can define as many parameter or calculation as you want based on your data set. Now, I need 3 parameters because I'm dealing with 3 columns: the order date column, the payment method in column C, and the sys amount in column H. Now, let me just apply what is called freeze pane so that when I scroll down, we'll be able to see what we are doing. Now, let's come to the View tab, and then we apply freeze panes. Okay. All right. Now, let's go back here. Okay, so I need the order date, the payment method, and the sys amount, that is columns A, C, and H respectively. Now, let's do the same thing, equal sign, Lambda function. Now, for the 3 parameters, I'm going to define them straight away. Now, because these are what's called, many sides, so I'm going to use a fact table, okay? So I'm just going to put in F date, indicate the date column, comma, and payment method, comma, and also we use the F sales amount. Let me just type that in, sales amount, comma. Now I have defined the 3 parameters. Okay, now for my calculation, I'm going to throw in the copied formula from the let from exercise here. Let's paste, and I'm going to get rid of this equal sign. Okay, now let's continue in the formula bar. Ctrl-Shift-U to expand the formula bar. And let's now pass in these 3 parameters into our let. So the first thing I'm going to do is to come to this section of the sum ifs, which under the sum range. So I need to actually replace this structured reference with the F sys amount Lambda parameter we just defined. So I'm just going to type in F sys amount. Okay, so replaced. Now for the criteria range 1, which under the date, I'm going to get rid of that and replace with F date. Okay, and also we need to do the same thing for this, the criteria range 2, by pressing F date, which is this. We have it here. And finally, for the payment method, which is the criteria array 3. So this is my screen tip. So I'm going to grab it and replace that with FPM, stand for payment method. Then I press my tab key. So I have passed all the 3 Lambda parameters defined into our let function. So this is the first one. And then we have the second one here. And the third one is FPM. Now, when I deploy, let's close the Lambda. Now, when I deploy Control Enter, it's going to give me the dynamic array calc error, because you can't actually, get the result for Lambda without having to open another parenthesis specified the 3 columns that we defined. Now, let me just Control Enter to show you what I mean. Control Shift U to collapse the formula bar. Now we have the calc error. Now, in order to actually have this kind of result, unlike the one we achieved in the let function, we need to open parentheses after the Lambda function, and then we give the 3 columns that we defined in the same order. Now let's do that. Control F2 rather, open the formula bar. Control Shift U to expand the formula bar. Now, I'm going to just come right here, open parentheses, and then we need to give the 3 columns, which the first one is, and the other dates, comma, payment method, comma, and the third one is the sales amount column. So we have, record, we are telling Lambda to give us the result for all these 3 columns based on the parameters we defined inside the Lambda function. Now, when I do Control Enter, Control Shift U to collapse the formula bar, we have exactly the same result with the let function. Okay, so we have 598 rather for faster pay, and for the Lambda result in here, Control Shift 4, 3,598,000 plus. Now again, I'm going to copy this result or the first cell, and I select the entire range, and then we paste. Cool. So we have the same result. All right. Now, this is not the end of the Lambda function. We actually want to create a custom function. Now, to do that, it's quite easy. I'm just going to copy this formula again from the formula bar, Control A, Control C, Escape, and then you can go to the Formulas tab, and under the Defined Names, you click on the Name Manager. Now, in the Name Manager, you click on the New, and then we have this new window open. Let me just expand this. All right, so we need to give a name for our custom function. Let me just name it. Now, it's going to be within the entire scope of the workbook. And of course, you can even give a comment, just like, the definition of a function when you are typing in Excel. So let's just say simple, or let's just say special or custom function. And then we need to paste the copied Lambda formula, Control V. And very important, I'm going to get rid of this section because it's not part of the function. So I'm just going to stop here. Then I close the, click on OK, and then we have our simple calc custom function that we can actually use. So let's just close this name manager. And then let's just get rid of this. Okay, and let's test the simple calc that we defined. Okay, equal sign, simple calc custom function. Now you can actually see we have this, the reason why we use that, open parentheses. Now I need to also give the 3 columns. Okay, I'm just going to go to the other dates, which is the first column, comma, and also the payment method and sales amount. And that's all we need. So it's quite simple, very neat, and easy to understand, although there are so many formulas behind. So Control Enter, amazing. And then Control C, and select the range. and then we control V. Absolutely cool. So we can actually see how simple the custom function looks like. It's so neat, it's so awesome. So this is what Lambda function allows us to do, to create our custom function. And also you can even create what is called a recursive, Lambda, that is a function that calls itself. Okay, you're going to define that within itself. But in this tutorial, I'm not going to show you that because that's another step entirely. I have a video on that on my YouTube channel, so our viewer can actually go through it and check. So this is how to use the let lambda combined with the traditional sum ifs function. Let's move to the next presentation, Control Shift U. Now let's see some of the new dynamic array functions. Now we have quite about 6 of them. We have the sort by unique, filter, sequence, brand, array. So let's just see perhaps the most powerful of the dynamic array function family. Now let's see the filter function. Now, okay. All right, so we have the same data set. Now, traditionally, if you want to filter, you come to the, of course, the data tab and you use this, your sort of filter. But now it has been, easy in the sense that you can actually use the filter function to filter your data based on the criteria specified. Now let's do something simple quickly. I actually need a drop down here, so K1 and K2, and I need to get the value. Let's just use some of the new dynamic array function, which are the sort and the unique combined with transpose function. Equal time transpose, which of course transpose your data either from column to row or from row to column, as the case may be. So for the array, I'm going to train the sort and then the unique DA function. And then I need the customer category, which is this column here. So I close the parentheses 3 times, Control Enter. So we have all the unique customer category. So let's do the same thing for the brand. So equal time, transpose, sort, unique, and then we want to get the brand. Now, we are actually working more smoothly because our data has been formatted as an Excel table. So I don't need to be doing Control Shift down arrow key like this. That is time wasting because the table feature allows me to actually get to the top of the column and look for this black pointed arrow and select the entire range, excluding the header. Okay, so let's close 3 times, Control Enter. So we have all the unique brand. Now let's create our drop down. So to do that, come to the data tab of the ribbon. Under the data tools group, click on data validation, and we want to allow a list, which is what's called a drop down. And then for our source, I'm going to point to here, cell L1. Now, because this is what's called spill ranges in dynamic array language, I'm just going to hold my shift key and I'm going to press the pound sign or the hash sign. So the pound sign or the hash sign will give me all the value from L1 to M1. Okay, so let's do okay. Now we have this drop down. Then we can use Alt down arrow key, the shortcuts to work with, selecting the data from the drop down, and then we can select any one of the customer category. So let's do the same thing for brand, data validation. We want a list. And then for the source, click on L2, then hold on the shift key and we apply the pound sign and Control Enter. Alt down arrow key, let's select limousine. Now we have, let's just hide this. Okay, let's just paint it. I'm not going to delete, I'm going to hide them, come to the home tab of the ribbon, and then we want to apply in fill color, the font color rather. So I'm going to choose white. Okay, so they are all there. Okay, they are just hidden. Now let's just get our headers. Control C and let's paste Control V. Now let's filter our data based on this predefined criteria that we're going to use. So let's see the filter function equal time filter. Simply it filter a range or an array. So press the tab key. Now the array is the list or the range that you want to return based on the include argument, which is the criteria. So for the range, I want to return the entire table. So I'm going to select this entire table with a diagonal arrow, okay, comma. Now for the include argument, let's do a single criteria first. So for that, I'm just going to type in, let's do for customer category. So I'm going to get this customer category menu side column. I want to check if it is equal to the selected customer category in cell K1. Now, because we have the split ranges which is going to work, I don't need to apply effort to lock down cell K1 in here. It's going to work pretty fine. So let's close the filter, Control Enter. That's amazing.
Wow.
So I'm just going to format this properly with the date.
Amazing.
Okay. Yeah. So we have narrowed the results. Yeah.
And it's
brilliant.
totally dynamic.
So this is all. Yeah, it's totally dynamic. So this is for platinum, and this is what's called a single criteria filtering. Now, when I come here and I change to, let's say, another customer category, let's say gold, everything update automatically, okay? You can just apply currency here, Ctrl+Shift+4, then get rid of the decimals. Okay, now this is single criteria. Now, if you want to, of course, add another criteria. Now, this is what's called the still ranges. This is the main cell where the formula actually dwells. Okay, this is what's called still ranges to the columns and to each of the rows. All right, now let's add yet another criteria, making it a multiple criteria. So F2 to open the formula, get the backspace parentheses out, and then because we want to do an operation that is multiple criteria, I'm going to wrap this inside a bracket, and then I'm going to close this. So this is the first criteria. Now I'm going to show you what's called the multiplication sign, which simply means the AND operator. Okay, open another parenthesis, and then we need to get the brand column in column D. Equal sign. I want to check whether it is equal to the selected brand in K2. Again, I don't need to log K2, just like I do not log the K1, because it's going to spill to the neighboring cells below and to other columns. So this if empty is an optional argument in square bracket. So I'm going to overlook that. Close the second criteria and I close the filter. Control Enter. Cool. So you can actually see this is for both brand and for customer categories that are gold. Now let's check the total sales amount. Ctrl+Shift down, arrow key. So the total sales amount for platinum, limousine and gold is 557,928,000 plus. So this is two criteria. And if I can even define another criteria, let's do customer category that is gold. Okay, let's change this now to something else. Let's choose silver, and let's choose let's say Rolls Royce. Okay, let's choose Rolls Royce. I like that. Okay, because they are formula based. Now let's apply yet another criteria. Okay, F2 to open the formula, get the backspace out, add the AND operator, open another parenthesis. Now, I want to check the sys amount that is greater than or equals to 4. Now, I'm going to select for the main side, the sys amount. Then I want to check, is it greater than or equal to 400,000? Then I close the third criteria and I close the filter. Control Enter. That is brilliant. So we have the brand that's equal to Rolls Royce in cell K2 and customer category equals to silver, whose sys amount is greater than or equal to $40,000. dollars or whatever currency. So this is absolutely a game changer in Excel, because this is actually available in Google Sheets. So we are happy that we have it in Excel. It allows you to do so much more. Now let's move to the next presentation. So I want to see yet another powerful function in the dynamic array family function. Now this operation, of course, we can do that with the Power Query, but I want to show us how we can achieve the same outcome using the sequence function in combination with the traditional index function. Now, let's see the sample. Now, these are essentially data that are in columns. We have how many columns? Order date, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Automatically, we're going to have 7 columns, which are order date, yes, this amount, payment method, units, price, and sys amount. Sorry, sys executive here. So this is sys amount. Now, let's do a simple math. Now, when I select everything, we have how many count? We have 35 count. Now, we know that 5, let's do simple mathematics here. Let's do 35 divide by 7. I'm going to get 5, okay? So meaning that we only need 5 rows and 7 columns. Now, let's see how to do that. Equal sign, index. Now, the index function is perhaps a powerful function. Okay, we use it a lot. Now, for the array, I want to get all this data from 1 to 35, control backspace, comma. Now, for the row number argument, I'm going to throw in the sequence function, and sequence function is one of the most powerful dynamic array function. So let's say sequence, it returns the number of the character at which a specific character or text string is first found, reading left to right. And of course, it is, sequence returns a sequence of numbers, excuse me. So press my tab key. Now, for the rows, I only need how many rows? I need 5 rows, as you have, established here, comma. And for the columns, each of the columns, I need 7 columns. 5 rows, 7 columns, and that's all. Close. Now, let's go through this. I'm going to press F9. Now, we have 1 to 35, which is exactly what we counted here. 1 to 35. Control Z. Now, when I come to check for the array F9, boom, we have order date, year, this amount, this executive, payment method, unit price, this amount, and all the values. So Control Z, and finally, I'm going to close the sequence function, Control Enter. Absolutely brilliant. So we have normalized the data using the powerful index and the new sequence dynamic array function.
Wow.
So this is exactly what you can, of course, achieve using the Power Query. Yeah, but it's so interesting that we can actually achieve the same outcome using the worksheet function. Now let's head over to another presentation. Now I'm just going to, okay, I have this blockchain. Okay, let me just proceed anyway. Now, there's a new capability in Excel that allows us to fetch data stored in PDF to Excel. Now, I have a blockchain data on my desktop, which I'm going to show you, and I want to get that into Excel using the Power Query. Now, let's see how to do that. Come to the Data tab of ribbon, and under the Get and Transform Data group, we click on Get Data. Now, this is the new Power Query icon with a little design. So, from the file, we have this from PDF. So we can actually import data from PDF document. So I click on that. And then I need to browse through where the data is located. So my desktop, which is this blockchain, double click. And then we're going to see the data being opened in the Power Query Navigator. All right, so we have it almost ready. Now we can actually select multiple items. And let's go through each of this table. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think the table starts from, okay, this is where the table starts from. So from table 002, this, and then I think this is the last one. Okay, so these are all the 3 tables we need. So we actually want to transform the data. So I'm going to click on Transform Data, and that will open the Power Query Editor where we can do cleaning and transformation. And also we can even do what's called refinement if there is any need. So let's see as the Power Query editor opens. So I'm going to write, let me just get it. All right, so can you see the Power Query now? I want to confirm. Okay, just a moment, waiting for this to come. Okay. Okay, Power Query. Okay, now I'm sure you can see the Power Query, right?
Yeah.
So just close this. Now, these are all the 3 queries or the tables that we imported from the PDF. Now, these are what's called blockchain data. Okay, so we want to do some cleaning and transformation. So we have actually achieved how to import from PDF to Excel. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is simple. I actually want to append all this data on top of each other. Now, you can actually append it in the Power Query in 2 ways. In the home tab of the ribbon, you can come to the combine group and we have the append as new. Or you can just right click on this empty space here and choose new query, and we have combine, and then we have append as new. So anyone that is convenient is pretty fine. So let's append all the 3 together as we wait for the append to come up. Now we have the concatenate, which simply means to concatenate rows from 2 tables or more into a single table. Now we have 3 or more tables. I'm going to choose these 3 or more tables. And this is the first table. And then I'm going to select this, hold my shift key, and select the third table or page 3, and I click on add. And then we have all the 3 tables to append, that is to stake upon each other. Then I click on OK. Cool. So we have a new single table. All right. So we have appended all of them. Now let's just give a meaningful name. I'm going to call it BTC Bitcoin. And then let's make sure that our data types are properly defined. So I'm going to check. This one's going to be a whole number. Okay, and let's see. Okay, everything is fine. Now, when I scroll down, there are 2, empty rows that I need to get out. So what I'm going to do is just come here and, remove rows. And I'm going to click on remove errors. Okay, and the 2 will be chopped off. So it has been removed, all the 2 errors down below. Now we can actually see the quality that there is neither error nor empty cells in our data. So everything is looking cool. All right. Now, having done this, the final thing I'm going to do is to load this single appended table to Excel, to pack to what's called a pivot table, rather, to create a pivot table report. Now, I don't want to load all the other 3 tables. I only need this BTC appended table. Therefore, I'm going to click on this close and load tool. Now, in this import data, I'm not going to dump it in a table or a pivot table directly. I'm going to first create connection, and then I click on OK. So we're going to see the at the right of your screen. And then we can finally right click on the table or the query we need, which is the BTC, and then we want to load. And then we change it back to pivot table report. I want this existing sheet, so I click on OK. Okay, it's still loading. Okay, just a moment. So this has to complete before the pivot table comes up. Cool. So we have 66 rows. So we can switch from queries and connection to pivot table by clicking on this icon. So we have 66 rows. So let's go to pivot table. Now, having done that, let's just create a group. Let's say, orders, from 0 to 10, 11 to 20, and so on, and see the value of the BTC. So what I'm going to do is simple. I'm going to get this one and drop it here, all the numbers, and then I come, just click in here, and then we have this group available. So I'm going to click on group selection, Now, I actually want to start from, let's say from 0 to 65, but the interval will be by 10. So I click on OK. So we're going to have 0 to 9, 10 to 19, and so on. Now, let's grab our values, and I'm going to drop this on here in the values, and then we can see the total value of the USD. So let's apply currency, right click, number format, and let's apply currency in our regional settings, and click OK. So this is the value of all the, of the BTC, Bitcoin, from 0 to 9 others, from 10 to 19, and so on and so forth. So this is cool. So we have been able to import our data from PDF to Excel. Now let's move to the next one. So I'm going to close this for a moment and close this. Now let's go to the Power Query data type. Now this is one of the new things that I love so much. You can actually collapse so many columns into a single column. And of course, you can even create calculations. I love this new feature. Now, I have a data set stored in text file. So let's import the data to the Power Query. Come to the data type of the ribbon, and we want to get from text/CSV. And we have this Power Query data type on the desktop, double click, and then we await the Power Query editor to come up, and then new Power Query data type, custom data type. So let's transform. Now, the last time I checked, the custom data type is available in beta channel and current channel, because I have beta channel on this laptop and I have current channel also on another laptop. So I'm certain, I'm sure that it is actually available in the beta channel. Let me just get this other data out. I don't need it. Okay, remove. Now we have from year to sales amount. Now we have the new Power Query custom data type under the transform group, and in the structured column it's located in. Now I'm going to select payment method as my governing column. Which other ones will be embedded? Or let's use year. You can use anyone that is okay for you. Then I click on create data type, and then we have this dialog box coming up. So we have create data type. Now you can click on advanced, and you can go through all this. Okay. Now for the name for data type, I'm going to call it special. You can just give any name, and the display, that is the governing column, is going to be the other year. Or you can even change. But because I've selected here, that's why I can change it for a moment. So I'm going to select all the other columns. The first one, hold my shift key, and I select the last one, this amount. And then I click on add, and they're all added to the selected columns. And finally, I click on OK. So all of them have been collapsed into a single column. That's pretty much cool. And finally, want to load back to Excel. So I click on close and load tool, and then want to dump it in a table. Table is fine. We want this current, that is existing worksheet, cell A1 precisely, and I click OK. And then we have it ready. Absolutely cool. So we have collapsed all the columns into a single column. And then we can actually click on this data, add the column. And let's say we want to pick, customer category. Cool. We have picked it. Or you can even use a formula. You can even say equal sign, brand. Okay, let me just take this first. Okay, excuse me. You can just select anyone from here, and then put your dots and select your brand. Press the tab key, enter. Cool. So we have it. It's going to work. You can do it from here or from here. And you can even click on this card, show card. Click on show card, and then you see all the columns. And then let's say want to add the sales amount. Just click on this, add, and then we have the sales amount. So this is essentially how to use the new Power Query data type. Now I'm going to make some tutorial on this, how to create some calculation even with this Power Query in one of my subsequent video on YouTube, feature that I love so much, which is the auto expand drop down. Now, traditionally, if you want to create an auto expand drop down in Excel, you need to format your data as an Excel table, and then you need to create. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, good. So in the past, you need to format your data as an Excel table and also create a named range. So let me show you the traditional way of doing it, of having your data expand. Now, I'm going to format this data as an Excel table. Just click a single cell, Control T, or you can even use Control L. Or, okay, let me just redefine it to this selection, Control L or T. It's okay. And then next one, we're going to create what's called named range. So I'm going to select the payment method. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and my Control key and press the F3. And that opens the create names from selection. Or you come traditionally to the formulas tab and click on this create from selection. And the top row is where our label is located. So click on OK. So we have created what is called a payment method named range. And then let's create our drop down. Come to the data tab of the ribbon and click on data validation. Click on allow value, want to allow a list, and in the source, I'm going to press F3, which opens the paste name. So this is for the Lambda function, and this is for the payment method, which we need. So I'm going to double click on this, and I click on OK. So we have our drop down, Alt down arrow key. Cool, perfect one. The last one is Visa card. Now, before I move to the new school, let me just show us how to use the new Lookup function, which is also new. Of course, it came out in 2019, but it's still new. Equal sign, Lookup, which succeed the HLOOKUP and the VLOOKUP. Now, let's look up the corresponding value based on this Visa card selection here. So for the lookup value, so I'm going to look up this. In fact, lookup can actually look out from any angle, okay, which you know, from the left, from the right. It's not restricted to the leftmost, unlike the VLOOKUP, which you know. Okay, XLOOKUP, for the lookup value, select the value in cell F3, comma, lookup array. I'm going to grab this entire array with the arrow key, comma. And for the return array, I want to return the corresponding value based on the lookup array and the lookup array and the lookup value. Then I'm going to forget about all this because they are optional arguments. Close the XLOOKUP, Control Enter, cool. So we have 2604. Okay, so let's select another one. Let's see, perfect money. It updates. Okay, 2257. Now, let's say I want to add a new data because the value that was specified in the data validation source is a named range. It's going to update. I'm going to add this BTC, USDT, and USDTC and F. I'm going to add it here. And everything updates. Let me just put some numbers here. Okay, so when I come to this list data validation, of course, it's going to update. Cool. We have this BTC, USDT, USDC, FROM. Okay. And when I check, everything works. Now, this is the old way of having this auto expand. Now, the new school, which is available in Excel Beta Channel, and I think in Current Channel, we don't need to do this long journey. Okay, all we need to do is to format our data as an Excel table and create our drop down, and that's all. And everything updates when a new data is being added. Now, let's do that. Here, I'm going to select this section. Control T or Control L will work. Okay, and then that's all. I don't need the named range. So all I need is just the data validation. So I come to the data tab and I click on data validation. And then for the validation criteria, I want to just provide. Okay, I'm just going to provide this entire range. Now it's going to spill, it's going to expand because this is a table. Table will expand down when the new data has been added, just like the way table operates. So click OK. And then let's choose any one of them. Let's choose Visa card. Okay. Let's forget about the XLOOKUP at this moment. Now let's add this BTC or the supplementary data. Control C. And then I'm going to paste here, Control V. Now, when I come here now, absolutely, it updates. Can you see? We have it here. So no need to create named range. Just create a table, format as an Excel table. And when a new data is being added, the data validation will automatically update. So this is available in Excel for M365. And this is why companies, organizations need to, get on board. They need to update their Microsoft Office because there are so much that are available, not in Excel alone, in PowerPoint, in Access, Word, and so on, that is not available and that will probably not be available on the older versions. Okay, so this is how to do that. Now let's move to the next presentation on Analyze. Let me just close this. Now the Analyze tab is located in the Home tab, Analyze Data rather. Now it's formerly known as Ideas. So this is actually what is called the artificial intelligence or the natural language in Excel, which allows you to create a report within a jiffy. You don't need so much calculation or even deep knowledge of Excel. Now, let's do that. I'm just going to click any cell in the value, in the data set rather, any cell. Then I click on Analyze tab. And then, of course, you need to be connected to the internet. And then this is the previous name, Ideas. So, and the new name is, Analyze Data. So we wait for the analysis to be completed, and then we have so many options to choose from, and then visualize our report. So let's just wait for a moment. And I hope people have questions as we progress. Now, we have these all options. These are what is called AI, artificial intelligence. You can actually see which is the most common payment method. You can actually click on one of them, double click, and then we have the answer coming up in the ideas. And of course, you can even ask a direct questions and it's going to answer the question. So we can see this is the answer. So I can actually click on Insert Pivot Table and a new suggestion tab will be opened. So we have the suggestion and this is the answer, which is the most common payment method. FastPay, Visa card, and the filler, because they have the highest number of counts. Okay. Now you can even ask questions. Let's ask some questions. So I'm going to clear this. Let's say sales amount by. Okay, let's choose sales executives. Executive, and then we click on this. Just even click on enter on your keyboard, and then the result will be fetched. So this is the result. Of course, it's going to come as pivot chart or pivot table. So click on plus, and of course, the pivot table and the pivot chart will come up together. So we have the suggestion tool, and these are the sales amount by the sales executive, and of course, we have the chart coming up. Okay, let's see the chart. All right, so this is how it looks like, and this is the pivot table. And of course, you can actually just type the things up here, come to the design tab with ribbon. Instead of this row labels, we're going to show in tabular form, which will give the name of the sales executive. Okay, I prefer the tabular form, not the outline. Okay, so this is how to use the Analyze tab. It's a cool feature in Excel. I love it. Now let's move to the next one, how to unhide multiple columns. Now, traditionally, of course, you can't unhide multiple columns at a go, but in the M365 beta channel and current channel, which I'm sure
sheets, not columns.
Unhide, yeah, sheets rather. Sorry, thank you. Thank you for that. You can actually unhide multiple sheets. Thank you for that. Let's just hide, this 3. So hold my shift key, right click, and hide the 3. So they'll be hidden. Now you can actually select any of the sheets that are available. Of course, you can't hide all of them. There must be at least one sheet in Excel. So let's just right click on this stock history, and then we choose unhide. And now we have what's called unhide one or more sheets. Okay, so we have 4 of them hidden. Now let's want to unhide two of them non-contiguously. Let's unhide this Wolfram data type, hold my control key, and I select this suggestion, 1 and 2. And that's all I want to unhide. Click on OK. Cool, we have it back. So this is a cool feature. You can unhide multiple sheets at the same time. And that's actually reducing the stress of having to unhide each of the color and the sheets rather, if you have multiple hidden. So this is actually a good feature. Yeah, it saves time. Yeah. Okay, now let's move to stock history. We are almost come to the end. Now, the stock history, of course, allows you to fetch, historical records of stocks. Okay, let's just do something MSFT, which is the ticker symbol for Microsoft. Now, Microsoft are in different exchanges. We have them in the NASDAQ stock exchange, in the Italian Borsa stock exchange, and so on. Now, let's see the historical record using this stock history function before we come to the data type. So let's start. Stock history, which returns an array of historical quote data for a symbol and date range specified. Now, the stock, of course, you can actually do a direct cell reference like this, or you can even just type in, let me just clear this. Let me use a direct cell reference. Equal time stock history. Now let's just use a direct value. I'm going to put that inside double quotes, MSFT, meaning Microsoft. Then I close that because it's an expression, not a direct cell reference. Comma. Now for the date, I can actually, I can actually use the date function, and that's what I love to use mostly. I'm going to create the date function, and let's go to 10, let's say 2010, and let's start for the month of January 01 and for day. Now, 1st of January is public holiday. I'm going to skip out because no company works on 1st of January. I believe many companies doesn't work. But let's just say we want to start from 1st of January 2020. Close the date, and I close for this moment the stock history function. Control Enter. Then we wait for the result to be delivered. Oh, error. Oh, let me see. Okay, let me see. I think it's showing error. Let me use MSFT. Okay, let me just use cell reference. Get this. Oh, okay, let me see what's going on. There's something. Okay, let me just use, let me do, let me follow my date order in 19th. Okay, let's do 1st of January 2010 rather. And I close that, close, Control Enter. It's showing error. There's something wrong. Okay. Normally, it's supposed to work. Let me check. Oh, there's something wrong with the function, actually. There's something wrong.
The name you are using, MSFT, it's...
MSFT, yeah. Let me use... Now it's going to work. MSFT is the ticker symbol for Microsoft. Okay, let me just Google... excuse me, let me switch to a new window. Okay, let me use Apple. I think Apple is app, Apple ticker symbol. I think APPL, I guess. Let's check. Okay, let me just use this. Okay, AAP. Okay, all right, let me just come back to Excel. Okay, let me share. Okay. AAPL, I guess. Let me check. Okay. There's something wrong. Connected to the internet. AAPL, that's the ticker symbol. Because this has to go inside the code. And
date.
Yeah. Now, that the start date is just what I need specifically in this moment. Okay. AAPL. I think the last time I did this, it worked. Let's see. Okay, oh, sorry. This is actually not responding. I don't know why. Now, the function has actually been giving some problem in recent time, but let's just move further. I'll try to figure out. But let's do the same thing anyway with the Wolfram data types. So we can actually get the same results. Just come to the data tab. Now we have the data types here. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and let's check. I'm going to select this MSFT. And then we can want to check information for stocks. Okay. All right, let me just close this, analyze. Okay, it's coming up. All right, so this is actually what I want to get anyway. NASDAQ for the London Stock Exchange, Santiago for Spanish, XIX Swiss Exchange for Switzerland, and so on. Now let's just choose one of them, select. And then we have the full name, Microsoft Corporation, and of course, the name of the exchange and the name, the ticker symbol rather of the company. So you can actually click on this icon and you can get so many information. Let's say the number of employees, okay, 163,000 plus. I can even click on this home icon to show card. And then we have all the same data. You have the picture and the current real-time information. It's real time, okay? So this is actually cool. So without having to leave Excel to get all this information at the tips of the hand, you can actually see the market capitalization. Just click on this and then we wait, expand. Oh, it's quite a big number. Wow, this is 1 trillion, nice, quite a big number. So this is how to use, the stock. Now you can even use, there are some things that I love so much about this, Wolfram data types. Okay, let's do geography. Let's want to get information about, Jerusalem. Let's type in Jerusalem. Okay, and then we can click on this geography, which deals with location. You can use the name of the location. You can even use the zip code, to get information. So we have it here, Jerusalem in Jerusalem district, Israel. So I click on select, and then we have myriad of information about the ancient city of Jerusalem. Okay, you can scroll down. Oh, excuse me. Okay, you can scroll down the population, almost 1 million. I believe you can see the image of the whole thing, time, zone, and the rest, the country where it's located. So you can actually see Israel. And of course, you can even click on Israel and check yet all the information of the country, the leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister. I'm not going to talk about politics because I know there's a lot of things hanging on his neck over there in Israel.
Yes.
I'm really following what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, let's see, people in Israel. Let's see Benjamin Netanyahu, the PM. Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, I believe it's correct spell. And then we have this Wolfram. Now, when I click on this automatic, it's going to give me the people here. So I can actually click on people. It's going to convert this name to the particular person information. I can actually even click on automatic. It's going to do the same thing because we are dealing with name of person. So we can actually see the information about him here. His picture is going to be here. Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, so you can see the date of birth, quite so many information. So you don't need to go to Wikipedia to be searching for all this. They are all available in Excel. So you can just pick an information, read about him. You can click on this icon. You can even check his height, his net worth. I'm not going to talk about what is going on with him, the allegations, and the rest. Yeah. So these are information, okay, and these are made possible with the power of the new Wolfram data types. Wow. You can even check about information about university, about music, in fact, about movies. Let's check one movie, one of the movies I love so much.
And it's bring from the Wikipedia or from where it's bring the data?
Yeah, it's actually linked to Wikipedia. Okay, the Wolfram is linked to Wikipedia, so you're actually getting the same information that you will get in Wikipedia. Okay, they are not different. So let's check these movies under movies data type, and then we have the stuff coming up. Oh, God's not dead. Okay, let's see. Let me choose escape from Zorbivo. Let's check this. Okay, this one is coming up. It's a movie that it's quite an interesting movie. So you can see so many information, about the director, the image, code.
Wow.
Everything are all in Excel without having to step outside Excel. So the future of Excel is extremely so bright, and there is a lot coming up.
Amazing.
I can actually talk about it, but I'm not allowed to do so. There are a lot coming up that we have seen already. So just watch out and see. All right, so this is how to use this Wolfram data type. So I don't want to overshot the time. Any questions?
Let's see. No, I don't see any question from the audience. Okay. Wow, it's amazing. All the features you show us, it's on the 365 version.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not belong to the insider. It's the basic 365 that we all have.
Yes. Now the M365 have different packages. We have the top one, the beta channel, which is the same thing as Office Insider. We have the current channel. We have what is called a semi-current channel, and so on and so forth. So it depends on which version of M365 or Office 365 you have. Okay, it depends on which version. So if you have the beta channel and the current channel, at least you will be able to have most of this, not all, but most of what you have demoed here. So they are basically available. Of course, Excel team are actually, getting all these things to other, segment of M365 and Office 365, okay? But they determine when it will be flighted to each of these segments, okay? So they determines that. But at the moment, some of them are available. And in fact, the dynamic array function, they are available in Excel for the web, which is accessible. Excuse me. It's accessible to people. So it's, it's
with all versions, yeah.
Yeah, it's available there, yeah. So you can access it if you have, Hotmail or Yahoo, Microsoft related mails, you can access it. I think there's something that I forgot to mention, which is the new tab under the pivot table and the get and transform. Now we have this from Power BI dataset. This is another game changer in Excel. In other words, you can actually fetch your data
model
Power BI online. Yes, exactly. And you use that to create a pivot table report. I'm going to demo down to you quickly as we close for the day. So let me just, change my share and show you my web. Now I have this report coming up in the web, Power BI for the web. Okay, it's coming up.
This is the Power BI service.
Yeah, Power BI service, exactly. So this is just the report, okay? It's under my workspace. Now let me just get this data that created this, VIX inside Excel. Now, in order to use this, we need to, fully sign into the tenant for your Excel and also, of course, for your Office. So you need to have that, credentials in order for this to work. Okay. Now, of course, I have my own tenant given to us by Microsoft as part of the MVP package. So everything is connected and I'm properly signing. Now let's go back to Excel. Okay. All right, let me just open this tab. Now you can see that I'm properly signing. This is my tenant. Okay, this is my tenant name, properly signed in. Now let's get the data. I'm going to come here. You can get it from here, from under pivot table, or you can come to the get and transform and click on here, and we have the same thing here. So both will lead to the same destination. So they're going to work. So I click on that, and then we have this Power BI data set tax pane coming up on the right. And then if you have so many reports or data set rather in your Power BI web service, you'll be able to see them and get them into Excel pivot table. So let's wait as this thing gets my data set. So these are some of the new things that makes Excel powerful. Okay,
no,
and there's another one.
It's connected to your tenant.
Yes, please. Yes, it must be connected to my tenant. Yeah, it's connected to my tenant. So I'm just waiting for this to come. Okay, cool. We have it here. So this is my tenant. Can you see? Okay, workspace. So this is my tenant name. So let me just get this one. I'm going to click on it. And then we have our result coming up, building your pivot table reports. So just a moment, we have.
Oh, this is a new feature?
Yeah, this is a new feature. Well, I think it came out, I think last year, I can't remember specifically, but I think in the third quarter of last year or thereabouts. So of course, it's still new. Definitely, it's still new. Can't remember. Oh, try again. Let me try again. It's showing error. Okay, let me just wait. Oh, let me just. Okay, so once it delivers, then we can create our pivot table reports. Okay. So this is new, and we also have what's called flow that you can actually use to create so many things like sending mails to people. Now it's ready. So you can actually switch between the Power BI, tax pane, or pivot table. So we have it ready. Now let's just create a simple report.
Whoa.
Let's say total revenue. I'm going to drop that in the values. And then let's see our by country. So let's drop down in the rows. Cool. So we have our pivot table report from the Power BI data sets.
Oh, it's amazing.
So this is amazing. Exactly. This is cool. So all we need to do is just to tidy things up here and consume the reports. Okay.
Now you have two ways connection from Power BI
please.
And from the Excel to the Power BI. So we
Absolutely.
have both connections.
Of course,
wow.
Absolutely. So these are new game changers. And of course, if the data update from Power BI, it will automatically update if you click on refresh here. Okay, all you need to do, of course, as we know, click on refresh and it updates in Excel. So that's the beauty of this integration between Power BI and Excel.
Wow.
Okay, so that's all that I have to show us this evening.
Wow, it's amazing, amazing. Thank you very, very much, MVP Abiola David. You are amazed us, and I and I want to thank you very much to have you in this session, and you're willing to participate in this session. I think you present us a very the most I think the most updated features in Excel, up to date, but as you said, there is more to come.
Yeah, more to come.
Great. Okay, we have one question. Okay, thank you so much. Esther Peretz said thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you have a question, אם יש לכם שאלות, אתם מוזמנים לשאול. אני חושב just speaking in Hebrew, a few seconds. אם יש לכם שאלות, אז אתם מוזמנים לשאול. אני חושב שהוא הראה לנו פה פשוט דברים מדהימים. אני חושב שמי שהגיע לוובינר הזה הרוויח בגדול, דברים שהם באמת, אני יכול להגיד לכם שאני עובד לא על גרסת ה-365, ואחרי הסשן הזה, אני מבין שאני צריך להתקדם, כי יש פה דברים שהם ממש עוצמתיים, פשוט בטירוף. אז I want to close this session. I want to say thank you very much to Abiola David
Thank you so much.
to join us, and maybe in the future we'll take another shot, another session.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. תודה רבה. Good night, good evening to all. Thank you very much and good evening. תודה רבה וערב טוב ולילה טוב לכולם. שמחתי שהצטרפתם. נתראה בוובינר הבא. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. See you.
Yeah. Yeah, cheers.